Bigfoot, North America's most famous forest giant. In the next 2 minutes, we'll trace its origins, the landmark 1967 film, and why science still says no. Footprints up to 24 inches long, flat-heeled with splayed toes, first caught public attention in the 1950s along logging roads in the Pacific Northwest. Campers and hikers report eerie, guttural howls at dusk, distant thumps overhead, and fleeting glimpses of a massive, dark figure slipping between the trees. Long before modern sightings, indigenous tribes like the Salish and Hoopa told stories of Saskats, a towering guardian of the woods. In 1811, explorer David Thompson sketched odd tracks near today's Washington state, marking the first written European account. Then came Bluff Creek, California, October 1967. Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin captured grainy footage of what looks like a 7 to 9 foot tall, muscular creature striding across a creek bed. Proponents highlight the natural gait and muscle detail, hard to fake on uneven ground, while skeptics point to the lack of recovered hair, blood, or DNA, and the possibility of a man in a suit. Since then, tens of thousands of reports and dozens of expeditions using infrared drones, bioacoustic recorders, and scent-tracking dogs have failed to produce a single verifiable specimen. Most scientists credit misidentified black bears, elk, or elaborate hoaxes. Yet the Bigfoot legend refuses to fade. Roadside museums, annual Sasquatch festivals, and a global network of believers continue the hunt. Is Bigfoot real? We may never know, but somewhere in those shadowy forests, the mystery endures. That's Bigfoot in 2 minutes. Next up, the blood-draining Chupacabra. Stay tuned. Next up, the Chupacabra, a blood-sucking legend born in the Caribbean and spreading through the southern United States. In the next 2 minutes, we'll trace its first sightings, evolving descriptions, and the science behind the myth. The tale begins in March 1995 in Puerto Rico, when farmers awoke to dozens of goats drained of every drop of blood. No puncture wounds, no spilled fluid. Rumors exploded of a creature with glowing red eyes, leathery spikes along its spine, and a mouth full of fangs. Locals named it Chupacabra, Spanish for goat-sucker. Early eyewitnesses drew the beast as a reptilian monster, standing on 2 legs, covered in scaly armor with jagged dorsal plates. But as reports spread to Texas, New Mexico, and beyond, descriptions morphed into a hairless, mangy canine with pronounced ribs, slinking into ranches under cover of night. Victims: livestock punctured in neat circular wounds, blood entirely removed, as if by suction. Scientists and wildlife experts offer simpler explanations. Mange-afflicted coyotes and dogs suffer hair loss and appear gaunt. Bite marks on carcasses can resemble puncture wounds, and scavengers quickly scatter any spilled blood. In many cases, carcasses examined under lab conditions show natural predation, insect activity, and post-mortem blood pooling, not a supernatural drain. Still, Chupacabra thrives in pop culture. Horror films, late-night talk shows, and viral social media clips of mysterious carcasses. Every new sighting ignites fresh debate. Monster or mangy coyote? Whether you believe it's a cryptid or a case of mistaken identity, the Chupacabra legend reminds us how fear and folklore can leap continents overnight. Nobody talks about the CT call, but they should. This beast isn't from TV. It's from the woods of the Pacific Northwest, passed down through whispers and warnings by the Cha-Cha people. It's not Bigfoot's cousin. It's older, hungrier, meaner. The CT call doesn't walk, it stalks. Massive, taller than a moose, arms like dead trees, and eyes that glow like embers. No fur, Just rough, ash-colored skin, cracked like old stone. Locals say it melts into the fog, watching from the tree line until you think it's gone. And that's when you're already missing. This isn't some monster-in-the-bushes bedtime story. People vanish. Hunters, loggers, hikers, all go too deep into sacred forest and never come back. The tribe calls it the forest taker. No body, no blood, just silence and a broken branch. And if you hear drumming in the distance, it's not a ceremony. That's your last warning. Some say the CT call protects the old land. Disrespect the forest, you're fair game. Others think it's a punishment. The spirit of a warrior who defied the spirits, now cursed to roam forever. There's a story from the 1970s. A group of teens went camping near Lake Chewauquee. They joked about old legends, even carved their names into a tree. Only one came back. His hair turned white. He wouldn't speak. Just stared at the fire and whispered one word. Drums. You won't find this thing in any zoo or Netflix doc, but ask the right elder, at the right time, in the right place, and they'll look away, lower their voice and say, "Don't go alone where the moss grows thick." That's where he watches. CT call isn't just a name. Up in the Arctic, where the cold is so deep it feels alive, where the wind cuts like a knife and the snow swallows sound, something walks the tundra. Not a bear, not a wolf, a deer, but not white like everything else out there. Black, jet black, massive, with antlers like dead trees and eyes that burn white through the blizzard. Locals call it the black stag. It's not just a story. Inuit and Chukchi hunters have spoken about it for generations. A towering, silent beast that moves without a sound and leaves no tracks. It always stands just far enough away that you can't be sure if it's real, until you try to follow it. That's when you vanish. Some say it's the ghost of the last ancient reindeer, killed long ago in a ritual gone wrong. Others say it's a spirit of the land, born when the balance tipped too far. It doesn't roar. It doesn't charge. It just appears before the storm, turns its head, and walks into the white. And the foolish follow. In 1982, a Canadian survey team spotted a massive dark figure standing alone on a glacier. One man followed it. Within minutes, a whiteout hit. He was found 2 days later, frostbitten, delirious, repeating the same words. It let me go. In 2004, a teenage snowmobiler near Barrow, Alaska, chased a black deer across the ice for hours. When his engine died, he realized he was 30 kilometers off course. No tracks led out, just hoof prints, circling him, fading. Old shamans say the stag doesn't speak. It tests. It tempts. It lures. It is the Arctic's curse, a creature made of myth and frostbite. You'll never catch it. You'll never kill it. And it'll never run. It waits, because when the black stag chooses you, you were already lost. You're sailing through thick fog off the coast of Newfoundland. The sea is dead silent, until suddenly an eerie ship appears, tattered sails flapping with no wind, ghostly lanterns flickering, and a crew of pale silhouettes staring straight through you. You blink, and it's gone. You've just witnessed the Flying Dutchman, a phantom ship said to haunt the world's oceans, but especially feared along the North Atlantic near Canada's rugged coastlines. The legend began in the 17th century. The story goes that a Dutch sea captain, arrogant, defiant, and cursed, challenged the wrath of the sea itself during a violent storm. He screamed that he'd round the Cape of Good Hope, even if it meant sailing until Judgment Day. The sea cursed him to do exactly that. Now, the Flying Dutchman is doomed to sail forever, unable to dock, unable to rest. a ghost ship trapped between worlds. But here's the weird part. This isn't just some old sailor's tale. For centuries, people, including explorers, fishermen, and even Navy officers, have claimed to see it. In 1881, Prince George of Wales, who would later become King George V, reported seeing a glowing ship that vanished into thin air off the coast of Australia. And in Newfoundland, the sightings are even creepier. Entire coastal villages have whispered stories of a burning ship that never sinks, appearing during storms or on calm seas just before someone dies. Witnesses always say the same thing. The ship glows with a faint red or green light. Sometimes it sails straight at them before vanishing. Sometimes it's seen miles away on a perfectly clear horizon. There's never a sound, no waves, no cries, just this chilling image of a doomed vessel, moving without a breeze. Some believe the ship is a warning, a sign of death or disaster. Others think it's a ghost stuck in a time loop. And then there are those who say it's not a ship at all, but something using the image of one to mess with our minds. Whether you're a sailor, a skeptic, or someone who just loves spooky sea stories, the legend of the Flying Dutchman won't let go. Because if the stories are true, it's still out there, still sailing, still watching. In the dense woods of Burkittsville, Maryland, there's a name that still makes locals shiver: the Blair Witch. No one's seen her clearly, but her presence, it's everywhere. A shadow in the trees, a breath on your neck, a whisper when you're completely alone. It started back in the 1700s. A woman named Ellie Kedward was accused of witchcraft by local children. She was banished into the forest during the freezing winter. Everyone thought she died. But then the children who accused her began to vanish. One by one. No bodies. No blood. Just gone. By the early 1800s, the entire town of Blair packed up and left. Vanished from the map like it never existed. Burkittsville was built over its bones, but the stories never stopped. Fast forward to the 1990s. 3 student filmmakers, Heather, Mike, and Josh, headed into those woods to investigate the Blair Witch. What they found was terror. Their footage? Shaky, dark, full of fear. Their screams? Real. None of them ever came back. People say the forest is cursed. Compasses spin in circles. Time stops. You get lost in a place that should be familiar. And then you start hearing things. Children laughing in the dark. A woman crying behind the trees. Twigs snapping when no one's there. And those stick figures? They're not decoration. They're warnings. The last thing you see before you disappear. To this day, hikers still report vanishing gear, distant screams, and lost time. Some say the Blair Witch is watching. Others say she's waiting. But if you ever find yourself in the woods of Burkittsville and you see a pile of rocks, a bundle of sticks, or a figure standing in the corner of an abandoned house, don't run. It's already too late.